Hey there, welcome. Today I want to talk about how to be happy. So, there's a lot of content out there, there's a lot of resources that are quite valuable on how to be happy, how to manage our emotions, and some are more practical, maybe almost like self-help, therapy style things. Journaling, gratitude journals, or self-reflection, CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy journals. Then you have just therapists and psychologists that can help, counselors. Then we have all the joys of life, entertainment, recreation, sports, art, creativity. We have people promoting happiness through health, like physical fitness, physical well-being, nutrition. To be honest, they're all important, and I think a happy life will most likely include a good chunk of all of them, or at least a little bit of a bunch of things. And so I'm not here to talk about the diversity of things that we should do to encompass a healthy, happy life. Those are important, but there's a lot of content out there. I want to talk about what happiness is. When you come to a certain level of awakening, not that there's any levels. I say level, yet there are no levels. It's just being here and tapping into the innate wisdom that's always present for everybody at every moment equally. Happiness is many things, and at the same time, it is the only thing. To bypass all those paradoxes I just said, happiness is a choice in a couple ways, because happiness is a label. It's a word, it's a sound wave, it's a thing we categorize, it's a thing we denote. And all the forms of happiness, let's say serenity, excitement, passion and pleasure, compassion and love. I think most people would agree that these are all part of a happy life. Yet they're all their own little categories, their own little associations. And so in this video, we're going to go through what happiness is. And I did a video about desire and all the kind of nuances of desire, the layers of desire when coming at it from a non-dual perspective, and not even a non-dual perspective, just coming at it from beingness. I'm going to do the same for happiness. So first, happiness is a label. It just is. There are infinite experiences, and we label some of them happy and some of them not happy. Happiness is a choice. It's a choice in two fashions. We choose to be happy, and we also choose to not be happy. And then happiness, true happiness, is reality itself. True happiness is just what is. It is God, it's universe, it's existence, it's self, it's Atman, it's Brahman, it's Allah, it's Shiva, it's the great perfection, it's emptiness. Whatever pinnacle word we use to denote the perfect, the real, that's what happiness really is. So let's go through those. So, happiness is a word. We're going to grow up. We're going to see laughter and smiles and joy and excitement and, peaceful moments. We're going to see fun moments. We're going to see all sorts of stuff. And we're going to learn from our subjective, contextual experience what to call happy or not happy. It's going to be a conglomeration of our own feeling states, like kind of nobody else gets to feel them but us, and we will naturally label some as happy or not. This will be partially from that empirical felt sensation, if it's pleasurable, if it feels nice, but then also if it mimics what other people call happy. We're learning these type of mimicry labeling techniques from a very young age. Other people wiggle and they call it dance, and then we wiggle and we call it dance. It's pretty simple. It's obvious. It's kind of like, why am I even talking about this? But that is actually a huge part of emotions. If we label a subset of experiences as good, happy, serene, exciting, whatever, and then we label some as negative, bad, depressed, anxious, stressful, we will have a series of emotional reactions to that. And this can build and build and build over many years and cause a lot of issues or cause a lot of benefits. And we know that just our labeling, whether we intend the label to be positive or we intend the label to be negative, can produce even physically different results. This is what the placebo and nocebo effect are. There's studies that show people that are stressed out, but they interpret it as exciting and challenging and good, don't have the same sort of negative health effects on their heart as people that are stressed out and think it's bad and unhealthy. There's a lady called Kelly McGonigal, a psychologist, that studied this. And there's many, many more studies that show how we believe impacts not just how we feel, but even how we physically exist. So it is important to realize that we learnt these labels from others, from the world, from a history that was limited in awareness, and to take charge and to unlabel everything, especially the negative. I recommend first starting with the negative. All the labels that are not happy, not joy, not love, not excitement, not serenity, not bliss, not pleasurable. So painful, bad, depressing, sad, anger, just anything negative that we're labeling our just our feeling state. To unlabel it, to disbelieve the label. And if we need to know why that's appropriate, there's a few reasons. One, this moment is always infinitely different. Even the cells in our body have changed from the past. The air molecules have moved. What's happening in the world is different than whenever something happened in the past. Let's say we were sad in the past and we labeled, this feels sad. And then it comes time, in the future, we feel something that we compare. And we're like, it feels like that. It feels sad. And we label it. And then we do that again. We do that again. Feels bad. Feels bad. We're building our own reality when we do that, because realistically, it's not the same. It's just different, technically. And whether you value that difference or not is up to you. But then if you don't value that difference, you should question why. Because if we look at reality, it's never the same twice. Everything changes, rocks erode, air moves, cells decay, and we excrete them and we intake new ones. Soil makes food, and then we spread the food, and then we make fertilizer, and everything's in motion. Nothing's the same twice. Even the nervous system, even if we want to call it similar, like a similar feeling state as the past, there are so many new neural mappings, neural patterns. Things have changed. We've had new experiences. just watching this video means your life is different. So you can feel honest and authentic when you don't label something bad, sad, disgusting, unsuccessful, failure, whatever negative label you're giving your feeling state, your being, your body, your mind, your heart. You don't need to do that, because you learned that word in the past. You learned that label in the past. But things are different now, because things are always different now. They're never the same. Additionally, like we've talked about, the universe is infinite. There's no finitude. There's no beginning, there's no end. If there was a beginning, what began it? Okay, what began that? Okay, then what began that? It just goes on forever, no matter how you think about it. If it was nothing before the beginning of the universe, well, then that nothing is kind of a really big something, because it made all this. If the universe ends, well, there's that big something nothing we just talked about again. And it's who says it's not going to do another universe, another reality? We can't assume finitude. And that means even our feeling state right now is infinite. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's part of God. It's not separate from the infinite multiverse at all. It's completely part of it. So how can we limit that? How can we call that some limited thing like bad or sad or mad? Honestly, how can we do that? We can't. We have to realize that none of our labels are true. So that means all of our negative labels are to be thrown out, to be actually thrown out, honestly. So that's the beginning. Stop labeling things negatively and undo that. Take a look at yourself when it happens, stay mindful and realize, oh, I have this tendency to call this experience anxiety, and I call that event bad or negative, whatever. And then undo that slowly. And then realize that there's an innate positivity to existence. What's better than infinity? What's better than boundlessness? We can call an apple good, but that goodness pales in comparison to infinite existence. It's not even comparable. So if we want to honestly use that word good, beautiful, nice, pleasant, whatever positive word we want to use, it's almost more accurate to use it on infinity, because nothing's better than it. It's the best, and it is what is. So we can learn that it makes sense to undo our limiting negative labels, and it makes sense for us to actually label reality in this open, unconfining way of good, amazing, blissful, and realize that inherent to infinity is liberation. No suffering stays. Everything can get worked out and change. And boundless love is always part of infinity. Boundless grace, boundless gratitude, boundless joy. It's never separate from infinity. And then anything confining, anything limiting, well, that's unreal. It's just an imagination, part of infinity's infinite potential, God's unbound capacity. And so it makes sense that we can label this feeling as good and say, I'm happy. Even if it feels what you would call weird, if it's new, if it's different, if it has pain in it, whatever label we used to give it, doesn't matter. We can just make this new open label that kind of denotes bliss, love, joy, etc. Good, just an open, positive good. Because existence always is. Infinity always is. So positivity in that sense, being here, is more accurate than that contracting negativity that we do sometimes with our minds. And then it's a choice. We choose to believe the negative limited labels. We choose to call our emotions happy, sad, joyous, bad, whatever. We choose to stay in that limited framework, or we choose to be, to accept what is, to create and manifest the joy, the reservoir of the universe under any circumstance. That's our choice. We can choose to react in whatever way we want to any occurrence at any moment. We choose to follow what other people do and how they label and how they react, or we choose to be a co-creator with infinity, being creative and loving the moment, even in the tough parts. Realizing that, death is just part of the transformation. Realizing that maybe certain sufferings that we experience are going to actually make us get closer to God, closer to love, make us stronger. Realize that the love we hold for another, wanting to protect them, wanting justice to happen, is also part of infinity, part of that oneness. So we don't need to just be in any limited state of happiness. It doesn't have to be that Californian, peace and love, nothing else. There's an infinite variety of good feelings. Even crying for a loved one that passes is a good feeling, because it's connection, it's oneness, it's the lack of separation. It's cathartic, it's immense, it's beautiful. So things that other people might call sad, we can realize are just beautiful parts of infinity. So we choose to discern appropriately. We choose to react with wisdom. And in that way we choose to be the innate happiness of reality, or we choose to spiral in limitation and in mimicry. And then that leads me to, it's just infinite, man. You don't even need to label it anything. You just need to be it. And you don't even need to be it. You already are it. And I am too. We are together. And it's just what is. That bliss that they talk about in Satchitananda, that loving compassion they speak about in Buddhism, the transcendence of nirvana and samsara, the playfulness of the Zen masters. Reality is an unimaginable, undescribable bliss, from completely comfortable peace to orgasmic ecstasy. Everything in between and beyond. We don't need to be guilty or feel bad about ourselves or label ourselves bad or failures if we forget, and we end up falling into habit, falling into tendencies of judging things and labeling them and thinking them negative or bad or limited. If that happens, well, just accept it and keep being infinite. It's no sweat off my sack if I accidentally fall back into those patterns. It's just part of the flow of consciousness, and you let it go and you stay mindful. They end up being things that help us realize our infinitude, and they're beautiful too. But we know not to keep doing them because we know they're a lie. The limited negative labeling, they're all lies. And any contrasting labeling of good is also a lie. Contracted good. This is good because it's better than that thing. This is good in comparison to them. This is good because I need that thing to be bad. This is also not truth. So if we do those kind of contracted, comparative, positive labelings, let's get rid of those. And just be. So happiness, it's whatever you want it to be. You can be not just happy in any moment. You can safely label any type of experience as happy, as good, as joyous. You can love and react well to any experience. And you don't need to label anything in a negative fashion. Any experience. And so you choose to do that. Especially if you're watching this video, now you choose that. And you can choose to simply let existence be. You don't judge it. You don't give it words. You let it be. Learning to trust and know that the true happiness is simply reality itself. It's simply you. You are happiness. I am happiness. Existence is innately joy. Because death is not the end. Pain is not evil. And there are no limitations. Thank you so much for listening. Om Sai Ram.